Zoom's connecting to Facebook, and I'll give you a countdown.
Facebook on that screen, so
right. So if yeah, can we sort of cut into you, Jen, as to, you know, if comments are coming in or people are saying things. Right, I'm going to hit the go live button now.
I'm going to tap it first.
Go live anyway. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm. We're ready.
Zoom's setting up your face, but I thought there was another bit, and that's why I was hesitant to push the button.
Well, we now have a message saying we are now streaming live on Facebook at the top of our stage. So
yeah. And I just need confirmation. I think that's there. So
it is. I can see us.
There we go. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our 4-day SOAR challenge with a 5th bonus day. So it's for the whole week, 5 days, 4 days on SOAR, and then we wrap up on day 5 with our bonus day. So I think the first thing is some introductions and some hellos. My name is Dave Holloway. I am co-hosting the event for the week along with the rest of the team. I've been working with Sanjay for 4 years. I train and coach, co-trainer and coach with Sanjay, working with him, his clients in the field of emotional intelligence. And we will be expanding and alluding more around that later. So that's me. Diane, if you'd like to just give us an introduction as to who you are and what you do as well.
Hey, hi. So I'm Diane Pugh. I was introduced to Sanjay's work just over 8 years ago when I was going through some personal challenges of my own and haven't looked back since. I'm an HR specialist by background and work mostly in healthcare. And it's helped in all aspects of both my personal life and my work life. So as a result of that, I joined Sanjay and his team, and now equally are a co-trainer and coach with Search Answers. So today we're going to learn one of the many techniques that Sanjay's taught us along the way, but have been real life-changing for me and many other people that I've had the privilege, and it is a real privilege to work with. So that's me.
Lovely. Thank you, Diane. John.
Hello, good evening. Hi, my name is John Grant. I was introduced to Sanjay about 6.5 years ago. I went on one of his retreats, and when I came back, my children actually told me that I had been transformed. So who was I to argue with them? Certainly life since then has been far more pleasant. And the benefits are too numerous and too large in many ways to go into unless you've got the rest of the evening to spare to speak to me about it. I too am a coach and a co-trainer, and I'm looking forward to this week. Should be interesting. So thank you.
Lovely, thank you, John. And Jenny.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Jenny Henderson. I support Search Answers and Sanjay Shah with a lot of the marketing and the communication. So you may excuse me, I may be looking slightly off camera at various points because I am monitoring all your comments and all of the communication that's happening on the Facebook page on my other screen. So it's great to see so many, and thank you to the comments that you have already made. So welcome to Selena, welcome to Charlene. Already this evening who've made comments. So please do introduce yourself on our Facebook page and say hello. And if there's any questions that you want to ask, please do so on there. But I would not be in the position that I am today if it was not for the techniques that I have been taught by Sanjay and on the various events that I have attended with him. And as Diane said, we're going to be going through one of those techniques over the next 4 days with you. And again, it has helped me immensely over the time and over the years that I've been working and doing this, and has helped get me out of a number of situations that I would have historically found myself in, maybe sitting on the floor crying in a corner, huddled up, where if not knowing this type of material now helps to solve some of those issues, that I can carry on through life and have an amazing time.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Jenny. So yeah, absolutely. Comment as we're going through this, ask questions. Our biggest challenge will probably be time. We've got half an hour each day. There is so much. In fact, I said earlier, I think, Di, we were chatting earlier, I could talk about this all day. So our challenge will be to keep this in a format that's informative, gives you some information, gives you value, but also just conscious of the time element that we've got. But by all means, please comment and let us know any questions, feedback. If we can't answer them now, we will address them, absolutely. And I suppose we could address the elephant in the room at the moment, as we've all spoken about Sanjay. He'll be joining us on Friday. So who is Sanjay? Sanjay Shah. He's been teaching and coaching and working in the field of emotional intelligence for over 20 years. I was fortunate enough to find him, and I'll say that, yeah, I found him 4 years ago. But in those years, the 20 plus years, Sanjay's brought together, and again, I think Diane, you alluded to it, many different ways and means of working, and the SOAR technique, SOAR that we the challenge of this week and what we'll be talking about is just one thing. So yes, Sanjay is an emotional intelligence coach, guide, guru even, but world class in what he does, and we're here to try and give you a flavour of that during this week. And we've mentioned SOAR. It's the SOAR challenge. What is SOAR? That may be the first question. That may be why you've come along to find out more about what SOAR is. We've said that it gives you 4 steps, and coincidentally, SOAR, SOAR, 4 steps, and that's what we'll be exploring over Monday to Thursday of this week, the 4 steps. 4 steps needed to help you use your emotions so that you can get greater clarity, and that leads to better decisions, and from those better decisions you can generate desired results. And Sanjay has worked with, I was going to say hundreds, it's probably thousands of people over those 20 plus years, and from an emotional level, understanding your emotions, then being able to work with your emotions, that's what leads to the better decisions. In some cases, actually leads to decisions. I think we've all come across instances or times with people that actually making the decision itself is what's in their way. That's their hurdle. And so from those better decisions, you generate better results. You generate your desired results. And we'll be touching on the basis behind that as well, particularly today as a first step. And certainly I'd say our job today, tomorrow, the rest of the week is to share our experiences, share our information. It's not to tell you anything. We're not teaching, we're just sharing. Your job is to take it for checking. This is emotional intelligence, and it's experiential, it's experience based. It's not really a thinking thing. Can be very counterintuitive, and sometimes what you think is the way you should be doing things, you find out is the way you've always been doing things, and may not actually have been the best way or the easiest way. So it's an emotional, it's an experiential. The emotions sit in the body. We'll be exploring the disconnect between the head and the body, between the thinking, recording, playback mechanism above the neck and the feeling bit below the neck. And that really is what emotional intelligence is. I don't know if either John or Diane have got anything that you'd add to that, or...
No, I think that's a fantastic introduction, Dave.
I've covered that. Excellent. I mean, because this has been an interesting year, I think, for everyone. Interesting last sort of 6 months at least. And the words fear, worry, and doubt cropped up quite often. We were, I think we were fortunate enough to work in with the people that we work with in the community that we've got, that a lot of that fear, worry and doubt, if it was there in either smaller amounts or certainly more manageable amounts. And I think this is the other point. You know, we're talking about emotional intelligence. I'm having trouble saying that today. Emotional intelligence, and that's not to deny the emotions. That's not to deny the feelings. And what we'll be exploring with SOAR, this is the first step, if you like. This is the foundation to actually being able to work with your emotions, identifying them and then working with them. And one thing I really did mean to say right at the beginning is that this is very simple. It's eloquently simple, and it's deceptively simple. And I think it's quite easy to get lost in the simplicity and then think because it's simple, it can't be powerful. But again, this is where it's counterintuitive, because the absolute opposite is true. It's its simplicity and its ease to apply that makes it so powerful. I was thinking earlier, I think it might have been Alan Turing, the physicist or mathematician, I think it's physicist. He had a whole concept about equations, and the best equations, the true equations, were simple ones or the beautiful ones. And if it looked beautiful, if it looked lovely, if it was simple, then that equation was probably right. If it looked clunky, if it looked complicated, it wasn't, and it could be simplified. And I think it's worth stressing right at the beginning, this is very simple, very straightforward, but it makes it easy, easy to follow, easy to, I was going to say understand, but it's not really about understand, easy to experience. I think that's it. So again, right at the beginning, don't be fooled or put off by something that may seem very easy or very simple or just not difficult enough, because that's its power. That's where that's where it has its strength.
I think Dave, if I can just jump in there, I think we've all experienced sometimes, haven't we, when people have come back to us when we've been in the room and we've been working with it, and people have said to us, yeah, but that's too easy. It can't be that easy. Surely it's not that simple. And you know, I think, you know, we've all been around a lot of people over the years that we've been working on our, you know, this material and working alongside Sanjay. And I think that's probably one of my key takeaways, is that when people suddenly go, oh, I guess it, because they were trying to overcomplicate things, they were trying to think about it too much, and actually rather than just going with it, and then when they do, and their light bulb moments and the realization suddenly comes on, they're just kind of like, oh yeah, that's amazing. So yeah, so again, you know, there's a couple of people on the call that I can see who you know have worked with us in the past, so you know, please do share your experiences on the chat. You know, what have you got, and how it's helped you over the time that you've been working with us.
Yeah, brilliant. And as I said, it's about experiencing. So we'll be going through the 4 steps of SOAR. We'll be explaining them in some more detail. You've been promised some homework, you've been promised some takeaways, and they will be about experiences. It's about experiencing it, because that's where you see it, and that's where you feel it, and that's where you start to get it, I would hope. So I think actually before we start with SOAR itself, we need to maybe just go back slightly. And I've got a slide to share that I shall, Facebook isn't necessarily the best way of sharing a slide, but let's see what we get. How does that come up, Jen? Is that?
I just see there is a small time delay from what I'm seeing on the screen. But while we're waiting for that, I just want to say welcome Istar. She said hello. She's looking forward to taking part in this challenge. Karen Buckley's joined us, and Selena has shared that it's very powerful, this material. So yeah, thank you, Selena.
Excellent. Excellent. Has the screen share come up?
The screen share has now come up, Dave.
Awesome. Yes. Right. Okay, so we're stepping back a step really from SOAR, because this again is about foundations. So I've shared a slide there: thoughts, emotions, actions, results. we tend to have a thought. There is right. Let's start with this. Thoughts become things, and if you think positive thoughts, good things will happen. That's the sort of mantra, the sort of thing that a lot of people say, a lot of people would have heard. And if you think positively, good things will happen. Take a positive outlook, good things happen. True to a point, maybe. The biggest issue with the thoughts, you have somewhere in the region of 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. You can't keep track of them, whizzing around, in and out. You're probably only conscious of about 10%, which may be 6 to 8,000. So that also means you've got between 54 and 60,000, whatever it is, thoughts that you're not even conscious of. So it's trying to keep track of that. But those thoughts lead to the emotions. You have the thoughts, emotions come from those thoughts. You have far less emotions in a day than you have thoughts. So of those 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, you might only have 2, 3, possibly 4 emotions during the whole day. But after you've had the thoughts and the emotions, that's when you then start to take action to get results. That's the cycle that's shown on the slide. And what Sanjay really, I think, I will say discovered, certainly what Sanjay noticed, what drew him to the emotions was the fact, with less emotions, you've got less to work with. You might only have 2 or 3 things to work with as opposed to thousands. But it's the strength or the power or the whatever the word is you want for those emotions that actually dictate the actions you take and the results. And the way I think of it is, let's say you were going to, you've had an issue with a flight during COVID, and your flight's been cancelled and you want to get the money back, and you're not happy, and you phone up the call centre to have a row with them because you know it's going to be difficult, and you're upset and you're angry and you're trying to get a refund on a ticket. If you were to do the same thing, but from a place of a more happier, peaceful, joyful, whatever the word is you like for being in a good place, and have the same conversation with the same person, I think my question would be, how likely do you think you are to get a better outcome in what you were looking for say, your refund? But actually, you could then take that a step further. If you didn't get the refund, but you were still in a good, happy place, would it bother you or matter to you quite so much as it would if you were in an upset, angry, unhappy place? This is the power of working at the emotional level. So the actions that you take from a better place emotionally. And those actions taken from a better place emotionally will tend to yield either better results for the same amount of effort, or less effort for the result that you were going to get. So either way, you end up in sort of a beneficial situation. So that's why we're talking about emotional intelligence, and I'm still struggling with those 2 words together, but that's the reason for working with the emotions. This is what Sanjay realized, that you've got less actually to work with, and there's more power there. And it's the actions and the results that stem from working at that, shall we say, higher emotional level, that's where you get the real benefit. So I've stopped the share now. I'm not sure how long that will stay on the screen for. And again, I just sort of just check in with Diane, with John, if there's anything else that you could think to add to that, or maybe just in a slightly different way as to what I've said there.
I think one of the things I noticed when I was working, and some of the distinctions that I made, my mind was very often spinning non-stop, with various thoughts coming in and coming out, and actually I would rarely actually stop enough. Sometimes I'd be on the go so much I wouldn't actually stop to connect with the emotions that were very often coming up until I stopped in the evening, and then all of a sudden I'd start to feel some of these emotions. By really getting you to stop and connect with them and notice whether they're positive emotions or not so positive emotions, actually gets you to acknowledge them from where they're at, or from where you're at, and really recognize. And I think, sort of when you welcome those emotions in, and normalize them, make them part of your normal life, actually it doesn't feel like such a roller coaster of life. And I think, you know, sort of definitely from that place, when I started to connect with my emotions more, I really started to connect more with the people around me, and notice a lot more that was going on, rather than being caught up in the thoughts all of the time. It's a much better place to experience life from.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, when you think about it, it's almost self-evident.
Yeah.
If you, which you're going to get the better result from, reacting or responding.
Mm.
If you react, then the chances are significantly less, I would suggest, of getting your desired outcome. Whereas if you stop and just look at the situation, maybe even take a second to think, what is it that you really want? What is it that you're trying to get out of this situation? Then the chances increase by responding of getting your desired outcome. Really simple. If you react from a place of anger, it's unpleasant for you, it's unpleasant for the person who may be on the receiving end. And as I say, the chances are that you won't get your desired outcome. Whereas if you can get into the habit of stopping and getting into a better emotional place, it's pleasant, more pleasant for everybody around. And as Dave's already alluded to, you then significantly increase your chances of getting what you wanted in the first place, and by a more pleasant route. So why wouldn't you?
Mm. And very, very nice and neatly led on to the next slide that I'm waiting patiently to load up. Jen, if you can give me a thumbs up when we get it.
No, don't. We've got a delay, but they'll see the slides at the same time as you're talking. Sorry.
Okay,
So,
that's our
yeah,
delay.
so
Sorry, right.
it's a
Okay,
time
there's
delay,
new
not a
slide
delay on the
screen.
slides. Yeah, no.
Because you know we've okay, so you know we've explained the reason of emotional intelligence. It's the emotions. That's what we're looking at. And so SOAR, as John, Diane have both just mentioned, what is SOAR? SOAR, stop, observe, accept, release. And I could almost just say, and that's it. There's more to it than that, but you could, again, back to the simplicity. That's it. You stop, you observe, you accept, you release. And as John's just said, it's that stopping initially. It's the first step. If you're reacting or responding, do you? And again, a lot of this is the sort of thing where once you're aware of it, once you know about it, you'll think, oh, why didn't I think of that before? Why didn't that occur to me? Again, it's very simple, but until it's pointed out to you, you don't know it. It's like seeing the wood trying to see the wood from the trees. So today, with the last 7 minutes that we've got, we're going to cover the S of SOAR, the stop of SOAR, and what stop is. And as again, as John, as you said, it's as much about making that what's the word I'm looking for? It is that moment where you realise where you are. Diane, as you said, when the conversations in your head, the chatter in your head has taken over. It's noticing that. It's really about coming out of the head energy, coming out of out of your mind, but of that thought process, or being caught up on the treadmill, on the mill of whatever's going on, and dropping into the body where the emotions reside. That's where they are. That's the body intelligence, or the emotional intelligence. That's where it is. It's not up there. It's down there.
It's all starts with stopping.
Sorry?
It all starts with the stopping.
It starts with the stopping. Absolutely. It's the pause. It's the gap that you need to give yourself. Because when we cover the rest of the process, the following 3 steps, that initial pause, that gap, that stopping, is bringing the attention down. It allows everything to start to settle to enable the next steps to happen. We've promised you some homework for the end of each of these sessions, and there is some homework for tonight. And it's not that you have to stop doing whatever you're doing. It's not a physical just stop. But notice when your attention is in your head. notice maybe when your the tendency maybe to overthink. For some people, something happens, there's a situation, and suddenly you're into, well, if I do this, that'll happen, then that'll happen, then that, and you've gone down this path of all the possible outcomes. What it tends to be when there's a decision of if it could be a good or a bad, we tend to go down the bad, and before long you've gone off on such a tangent that you're in a bad place. That's when you're then in a low emotional energy. You've taken yourself down that path. So it's about stopping and coming out of that head energy and dropping into the body. So the homework for tonight is to try and experiment. And it's such a lovely evening as well. We've been blessed by the weather for this week. So if I was to say that all the homework will be external, all outside stuff for the rest of the week, it's going to be a lovely evening to try it in.
Lucky to build a marquee.
Yeah, that would have been nice. Yeah. Yeah, so the homework for tonight is to try and experiment, and it's to I'd say go outside if you can. Why not? It is a lovely evening, and there is something about being out in nature. Try walking around with your attention in your head. If you're fortunate enough to have a garden, or if there's a park nearby where there's lots going on, walk around with your attention in your head, just noticing what's going on. Do that for a few minutes, and then physically stop. Maybe close your eyes, take a few seconds to just reset yourself, and try and bring your attention down into your body. Sanjay describes it as maybe imagining a lift in your back, and that lift is dropping down your spine, dropping down into your stomach. Maybe even imagine the lift doors opening and you're now looking out from your stomach. And then try walking around again. But with your attention, even trying to imagine with your eyes from your stomach. Walk around, see what you notice.
The way of doing this is actually just to touch yourself just below your belly button.
Just hold your hand at your belly button. Yeah. And walk around from that place and just see the difference. Find out, this is where it's an experience. This isn't us telling you this will work or it won't work or this is how to do it. As John said, maybe try holding your hand at your belly. Maybe you can imagine it. We've all got different ways. And it all works differently to a degree in the method that we use to actually get to the desired result, which is to try and bring our attention into our body, into your stomach. Another thing you may want to try to take your shoes and socks off, or your slippers or tights or whatever you're wearing, jeans. No, not your jeans. I've gone too far.
Keep your jeans on if you're walking outside.
just get to bare feet was what I was trying to say. And stand on the grass in bare feet, grounding yourself. You're bringing your energy down into the ground, into the earth. That's what earthing is. But that's just, again, a way of maybe helping it work more maybe for, again, it'd be great to see if you could feedback in the comments into the Facebook page whether that works for you, because not everything works for everyone in the same way. And some of this is about, this is why it's an experience. It's about finding out which way works best for you. It may be you can imagine your eyes in your belly. It may be that you have to hold your hand there. It may be you imagine there's different ways. Experiment with it, play with it, have fun with it, and see what you notice. And my contention would be that you will notice a difference. And it's about where your awareness is. And then we can lead on from that with the following steps, how to use that awareness and work with that, with an aim to getting yourself in a better emotional place, more often, for longer. And again, you know, check in with the rest of you. But for me, it's more often, longer periods in a better place, not reacting. And if I do react, I catch myself reacting far quicker. And I can almost see myself and think, okay, Dave, you're reacting now. And there's a separate conversation now going on between the reacting me and the not reacting me, saying, hang on a minute, sort this out. So that happens, yeah. But most of the time, I'm in a great place.
It's something that's so straightforward for people to do, and no one needs to know that you're doing it around you.
Yeah.
You just to notice what's going on and actually come out of the head and into the body is a very quick technique that can just change things, your whole outlook almost instantly.
Listen out.
I've had sorry, John.
Now, I'm just going to say, if, my own experience is if I'm out walking my dog, which I do a lot, when my mind is going 10 to the dozen, I don't hear anything, I don't see anything, I don't notice anything. As soon as I stop, first thing I notice is the bird song. And it's so beautiful, again, an evening like this at this time of year. And just so switching from the nonsense that's going on in here, just to hearing the birds. And then you start to notice the trees. And really simple stuff.
Your turn, Jen.
So I've had loads of comments, guys, coming through on the Facebook page that I just want to make you aware of. So we've had one comment from Charlene, which is this exercise mindfulness related? So how would you answer that one?
I'm not necessarily, because again, we'll all have our different interpretations of this, but mindfulness is certainly about stopping and getting out of your head and checking out what's going on. But this goes so much further. This starts where mindfulness stops, I would say.
Yep, I'd agree.
So, Charlene, just to answer your question, it's sort of mindfulness related, but not. So that's really helpful, I know, in answering your question. However, the exercise for this evening is just around noticing the difference. So the exercise for this evening around stopping is your awareness of when you're in the head, and you can, as John said, those thoughts are starting to go, as Di said, those thoughts, and then when you can then say, okay, I'm taking the attention away from my head and down into my body, and then looking around. And it could be that you stay in the same spot and look around you and see what's happening. And I've got some neighbors out in my garden at the moment, they put a parasol up, they're all having a chat. I'm sure I would be noticing lots of different things going on there as I walked out. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in, take your attention from your head down into your body, as Dave said, through whatever technique that you want, and then reopen your eyes and see what you can see from that point. See what difference, what other things that you can see what other senses are starting to come into play when you're in that position of just stopping. So sort of mindfulness related, but again, just a different look at things and a different way of experiencing life. And it would just help you, as Dave said, to take the next bit. So Suzanne says she has more confidence, more belief. At the moment, she's able to make decisions better, which is something that she has struggled with hugely. So she says, just stopping and being aware of the thoughts and feelings, they don't define her anymore. And Selena says, it has really helped me live in my heart more.
Awesome.
Using the techniques that we're talking about and using the SOAR technique. So thank you guys for some great comments so far.
And again, this is the S of SOAR. So we're on day one of the challenge. So there is a bit more to come, and it will become more. There'll be more explanation and more whatever the word is that I can't think of. It'll be more obvious as we get into it where this might maybe differ from other things.
Sure, I think that's what I was going to say in response to the mindfulness question. This is one part of it. When you see the whole of the SOAR technique, you'll be able to make your own comparisons of how much further, as John said, it goes than the mindfulness work, which is fab and has its place. But this is just a technique and a tool that goes slightly beyond.
Brilliant. Well, on that note, we've approached past the 30-minute mark. We're now just gone 6 o'clock. So we've started. We've shared the S. We've got an O and an A and an R to come, and then we've got a final wrap up on Friday when Sanjay will be with us to answer maybe more questions or give obviously some of his take on it, on what he does and how he does it, why he does it, and everything to do with that. So unless anyone else has got anything else they'd like to add. I would just like to thank everyone that's been part of the Facebook Live for their time, their attention, their participation. Looking forward again to doing this tomorrow. Looking forward to any feedback and see how you get on with any of the for the homework, and see what that does for you. And leave your jeans on, please. And on that note, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
And that should have stopped the stream. I don't know how instant the stream stops.
Yes, it was recording.
Like 10-second time delay. So
Right.
want to stop the recording?